What up, Raf leaders? Welcome back to my channel. We are back on the east coast of Demerara to take a look at this building, Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort. We want to find out what has happened since the last time we were here. I think we were here back in, was it early May, right? Or late May, early June, sometime more than a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. And since then, there have been some changes. Morning. And we want to see what those are. Now, where I am right now is on the seawall. This is the East Coast seawall. That's the new pump station outlet that was built recently. I think it's operational, although right now it's not working. So what happens usually is that this pump station is supposed to come alive whenever it rains. But apparently they're still using the old pump station. I'm going to show you what that means. So because the coast is below sea level, that's the new pump station across the street, right across the highway. That's the new pump station. And it's connected to those two pipes. See those two pipes coming out of the wall? Those two pipes are connected to these two pipes. Oh, there's a staircase here. This is their good old Guyanese solution to Guyanese engineering. Instead of passing these pipes through the wall, they decided to break the wall and put stairs over it. So what's happening here is these two pipes are the ones that are connected to the pump station across the street. But this is the old pump station. See, these are two electric pumps and they're still operational. So what's happening right now is they're drawing water out of this reservoir, right, that's connected to that canal across the street, across the road, and that water comes out here. So this is the pump station in operation. Right, so that's what's happening here. There are two of them. The other one is not working. So that's what's happening here. This is Liliendal, the pump station at Liliendal. But let's get back to this issue. So the last time I was here, maybe it was 6 weeks ago, to take a look at Pasha Global 5-star Hotel. Since then, several hotels have been shown. I actually visited several of the new hotels. I think some of them more than once, like the AC Marriott at Ogle and the Courtyard Marriott at Yegan International Airport in Temeri, and Jules by King's Hotels, which opened recently. See in the distance, that is the movie town. Yes, and we've covered a number of hotels like the Hyatt. There are actually 11 hotels under construction, but this one, Pasha, is the most massive. And I guess it's time for us to take a look again and see what has happened since last time. Now, I think this is supposed to be a 16-story hotel, but last time we were here, I think I counted 14 floors. Let's see if they got up to the maximum height since then. That's the first thing we'll check. Now, the first 3 floors at the bottom have very tall ceilings, so it'll take up about half the hotel. So that straight line across, horizontal line, that is the top of the 3rd floor, the ceiling of the 3rd floor. And then we're going to go up the side here. I can see floor number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I only count 14 floors, so maybe it's not 16 floors, it's going to be 14 floors. At least that's what I can count from this location, unless the other side of the hotel, the back, which we can't see from this location, has a different set of ceiling heights, and it managed to put 16 floors in that same height. But let's get closer and see what it looks like up close. So guys, we're heading over to the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort and Casino. That is, it's a hotel, resort, and casino. And we're walking across the Rupert Craig Highway, which is the East Coast Highway. There's some cars coming down the pike. That's looking east along the highway. And we're on a median. We're officially in the village of Pattinson. The next village over, that is Liliendal. We've walked this route before. And that's the hotel from this vantage point. That's what the hotel looks like. It is much more massive than it appears to be in this video. We're gonna get up close and see what it looks like. Of course, over there, that is the COVID hotel, COVID hospital. It used to be a hotel. It used to be the Ocean View Hotel. They converted that Ocean View Hotel into a hospital during the pandemic. And now back, so they've paved this road, but it looks like it's like a narrow street, like an alleyway. There's no reason why this road should be so narrow. And it's a two-way street without a center divide. Anyway, over here, that is the village of Liliendal. Liliendal, I think it's Dutch. Write the word Liliendal, I think it's Dutch, which reminds us that Guyana used to be a colony of the Dutch first, then the Spanish, and the British. So a lot of the names of villages, Victoria, for example, Buxton, English names, morning, with reminiscent of the colonial history, morning. And on this side, it's Pattinson. Now there's some number of developments going on in Pattinson. I promise to give you a follow-up on, there is a housing development happening at the next block in the next street. Hopefully we'll take a look at it before we get to the end of this video. But yes, what was happening here is that this is the most massive hotel under construction in Guyana. Most of the other hotels that have been built have a maximum of 9 floors, 9 stories. This one goes up to 14. Well, the Pegasus Suites actually went up to 12 floors. So Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, and I think they're building a new addition. They're actually gonna duplicate the Pegasus Suites. They're building a new addition. I think it's going to be also 12 floors. But this is 14 floors. 14 floors is now the largest or tallest hotel, probably the tallest building in Guyana, because even the new government offices at Hags Bosch are 11 floors, and the new police station at Brick Dam is also 12 floors, like the hotel Pegasus Suites. So this is new. From this location you can see the National Aquatic Center, that is where Guyanese swimmers, athletes train for the international competitions. I've actually shown you that one in the front. It's nothing spectacular. We do need a lot more private pools in Guyana. Someone was pointing out to me that, oh, I think it was Trevor Noah, that in South Africa there used to be lots of public pools until apartheid ended and the government made it so that all of the races could use the public pools. And then suddenly the public pools were filled in, abandoned under disrepair, and there was an explosion of private pools. So guys, now we are on the railway road, still heading towards the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel. They're still widening this road. I think I did an update on it some time ago. Right, that's the railway road looking west towards downtown Georgetown. Right, railway road looking west towards downtown Georgetown, and they're widening it. That's how far they've gotten from I think it's the new Conversation Tree Road. Over here, apparently they're building a wider culvert. Right, so this is progress on the widening at this point. They're building a wider culvert. Seems as if they're still casting the bridge on the wider culvert at this section, and don't remember if this was a narrow, I think this was a narrow culvert, so they're basically making it wider. So I don't think they have to rebuild the other side. Now this is of course a culvert that crosses the canal that collects water that goes all the way out to the pump station, which we saw in the beginning of this video. Of course, the next village is Atkinson. Atkinson is the next village. So this is it. This is the entrance. This is the new entrance to the, well, I don't think it's new, but the entrance to the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort. And this is the widened culvert. Now, I guess, built to accommodate four lanes instead of 2 lanes. And I guess there's also going to be a pedestrian bridge next to it. So I guess that's what we're looking at. But here, this is Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort. This road has not been paved yet. This is the entrance, but they have improved it by adding some chipped stones to it because it was really in bad shape and would be all muddy when it rained. So now there's still pools of water, but at least there's no longer mud. Your shoes would cake up with mud if you walked on it before. At least that has changed. And that's what it looks like. That is the east. Well, that's west. That's looking west along the new railway road. And that's looking east. But yes, back to Pasha. So Pasha is supposed to be this 14-story hotel and casino, and I think they've reached the maximum height. Morning. I think they reached the 14 floors. It's interesting. We'll have to wait and see what they do with the land in front of the building. I don't know if that is also a part of the Pasha complex, but for now, it is vacant. Right, it is vacant. And I don't know if it's going to be like their parking lot or some other auxiliary function. No, they actually have a wall, right? So they actually have a wall. I guess that marks the boundaries of Pasha. So this space in front of Pasha is probably going to be occupied by some other company. But here's what has happened. So they've actually managed to complete the floors, that is, building out the floors, it seems, although there are still cranes at the top. So you can see still a couple of cranes at the top. I don't know if that means they're going higher, going to build taller, but they seem to be prepared to be at this height for a very long time. This is the last time we were here. Now the building is massive because from the road, right from the north, which is where we've been looking, you could only see the side of the building that faces north. But as you come around to the west side of the building, you can see it actually has much more dimensionality, and it's massive in scale, right? Compared to everything else around it, it dwarfs the other buildings. So over there, for example, that is the Guyana Olympic Association building. Tiny compared to this Pasha. And that's the entrance. That's the entrance of the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel. It looks huge, massive. These guys want to say hello. These are, I guess, the workers. Hey, you guys. Are you guys working on the building? You're working on this building?
Yeah, everybody.
Very good, very good. So, are you guys from Cuba, Venezuela? Are you guys from Cuba, Venezuela? Cuba, Venezuela. Welcome, welcome to Guyana. Bienvenido. So that's a group of Venezuelan workers. So these guys are working on construction of this hotel. Pasha. We're looking at the west-facing side of the building now. We're looking at the west-facing side of the building. Morning. So how many floors? 16 floors? Okay, so these guys are saying 16. I counted 14. Okay, so it's officially... Oh, okay, so the tall ceilings is 2. Yeah, I was counting this as 1, 2. Yeah. I see how you get 16, right? So apparently, they're actually counting the double height floors as 2 floors. So floors that have double height ceilings, they're counting those as 2 floors, and that's how you get 16. So what I've been calling the first 3 floors, they actually call the first 6 floors, simply because the height of the ceiling makes it, the height of the ceiling makes it double floors. So that's how they get 16 floors. But this is the west-facing side of the building. As you can see, it is massive, huge, compared to anything else in the neighborhood. As you can see, it extends in an L shape. So what you can't see from the front is that there is a further half of the building extending to the south. All right, so when you look at the front of the building, you're only seeing half of the building because you don't see this side of the building, that is the rear. It's massive compared to everything else that's nearby. So like I said, this used to be a fairly large building, the Guyana Olympic Association building. They call that what, Olympic House? The letters are faded, I think, on the sign. That's Olympic House. That used to be one of the large buildings. And this building, this is the private school that most of the expats, diplomats, I guess we should call them immigrants now, since Americans call expats, immigrants. We should probably call American expats immigrants. So this is where the immigrants that work for ExxonMobil and a number of the foreign companies bring their kids. And that used to be a large building, massive. But compared to this, it's tiny. So Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort dwarfs everything in the neighborhood. In fact, you can see it from Campbellville, from Georgetown, right, from the city proper. And that's why it's important. It's one of the most massive construction sites in Guyana at this time. And as you can see, the south side of the building is also as high, as tall as the north-facing side of the building. So from what you can see on the south-facing side, you have to double it to get the true size, the true scope, the true scale of the building. Pasha Global 5-star Hotel. So my guess is that since they're counting these ground floors as double floors, my guess is that we've now reached the maximum height of the building. In other words, it's now 16 stories if you count the tall ceilings as 2 floors. Now actually you can see why, because on the south side of the building, those double floors are replaced. This is a conjecture I made earlier. The double floors have been converted into 2 floors on this side of the building. So now you can actually see how they get 16. There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, maybe 17 if I guess I counted one floor twice. So that's how you get 16 floors, because on the south-facing side of the building, the south end of the building, they've actually made it single height ceilings. But this is what is happening here, guys. This is what is happening since the last time we were here. It seems as if they've maxed out the height of the building. Also, what is happening at the back, this is a housing development. I understand that the owner of this housing development, Ramsarup, don't remember what the name I was told is exactly. I'm assuming it's Ramsarup. They also own the school, built the school, and I guess they're either leasing it to the immigrant community from the workers, for the workers at the international companies, or maybe they are running it themselves, I don't know. But I notice a lot of the kids who go to this school also live in this neighborhood. So this is one of the new housing developments that caters to the immigrant community for these international companies. And since the last time we were here, it seems they've built even more. They've put in even more buildings. So these are some large buildings that are adding, I guess, to the complex. They don't look like homes. I'm assuming that's like a clubhouse. Maybe it's like one of those housing developments with a community center and so on. So, or maybe it's another mega mansion. But this is Demerara Estates. It extends the entire length of this section, right? Demerara Estates. And I think it goes all the way to, at the other end, it goes all the way to the mall, to Giftland Mall at that end. And there's some really large houses in this development. They are near this Pasha Global. Actually, they extend. It seems as if they extend even further at the western end to Sophia, right? All through Liliendal and Sophia. Maybe, in fact, the whole area is probably Sophia. But this is what is happening here, guys. This is the neighborhood of Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort. And what you can see is how large the Pasha Hotel and Casino looms over this school. Now, this school used to be massive. I remember the first time I came down here, I was quite shocked at how massive this school is. But now that Pasha has been completed, or at least the height of it is maxed out, you can see that Pasha now dwarfs. Yeah, morning. Pasha now dwarfs the school. Also, since the last time we were here, it seems as if they've done something to this road. They have at least paved it with concrete, because I remember last time I was here, they had built this sidewalk. Right, I remember kids riding their bikes on the sidewalk, but I don't remember if they had completed the surface. Morning. The surface of the road, but I think they have now built it out, and I'm assuming that eventually they're going to extend this all the way out to the railway road. But that's what's happening here, guys. It's one of the largest, if not the largest, hotels in Guyana. 14 floors. Now, it's time for me to give you some details as it comes to closer to completion details about who the owners are. Like, I know a lot of the new hotels are actually being built by foreign companies. I think Trin Guyana Ventures is building the AC Marriott, and I think the Courtyard Marriott is also a Trinidadian company that's building that. The only one I think that is fully Guyanese owned are, I think, the new Jewels by King's Hotels. I think that is Guyanese owned. And I think the Best Western is also Guyanese owned. In other words, the investors, the private investment that came to build those two hotels are backed by Guyanese investors. And the Marriott in Kingston, the Kingston Marriott, that was owned by the people of Guyana. It was built with state funds. And of course, money borrowed from the banks. But I think all the other hotels that are being built, constructed in Guyana right now, are being built by foreign investors. And this one, Pasha, I understand, is a company based in Suriname, our neighboring country, Suriname. That's where the brand comes from, Pasha. And I think a lot of the investment funds are probably foreign. It's massive. Now, what I remember, what I didn't count in the last time I was counting the 11 hotels that are being built, is I didn't count the Chinese-owned Royal International Hotel. That, I think, is number 11, the one I missed last time. So Pasha is one of the 11 new hotels being built, but the 11th one that I missed was Royal International Hotel. I haven't done a review of Royal. I'm probably... All right, nice gun, man. Cool. So this guy's got security out here. So yes, the Royal International Hotel is in fact number 11. That one, of course, built by Chinese. YouTube, Raphael Nation. I'll show you just now. Yeah. Okay. So that's what it is, guys. That's what's happening here. And it's a Saturday morning, so these guys are actually lined up to work, coming into work on a Saturday, which I guess shows their dedication to this job. It's actually before 8 a.m., so before the work day, and these guys are already out here Morning. Morning. So that's it, guys. That's what's happening here in Georgetown at Pasha Global 5-Star Hotel and Resort here in Guyana, the fastest growing country in the world. And a lot of the progress is now tied up in real estate in these new buildings that's being constructed. And I'm going to keep bringing you updates as long as they're building new hotels, new roads, new bridges, new schools. But what's up, guys? Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later!